Let's just test this out a little early. 7 a.m. we go on, but you don't like the mic this way. The mic doesn't look good this way, right, Dr. G? Not this way, right? If it's your first time here, you're here early. It's
Yeah.
technical because all the big podcasts hold their mic this way.
Do they?
Joe Rogan, he's very
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
famous.
Right.
I want to be like that.
Of course.
But then this way,
I don't
you
know.
think this is more
Something
like
seems kind of cooler to me.
something seems cool like this, right?
Yeah.
I could start my own thing, man. You
Yeah.
know what?
Why
You
not?
know what? Dr. G, it's 6:59 a.m.
Let's.
You're on my show, but now it's our show because every Monday it's you and me.
All right.
Every Monday you and I talk about human interest stories, health and wellness. Dr. G, if it was your first time here, you know what you got to do. You have to subscribe. And
You
hit
do.
that bell to be notified when we're coming on. There's certain things you could talk about, certain things you can't talk about, but we like to laugh. And sometimes we have celebrity interviews, and sometimes maybe we have an author or somebody talk about some, health, wellness, meditation, whatever. I got you. You're a real doctor, right?
I'm a real doctor and everything. Yes.
You're a real doctor. So everybody, if you don't know what coffee talk is, this is it.
This is it.
Coffee talk with the Tika. Nothing rhymes with that but chicken tikka. We name drop here with Stefan and all his friends.
Dr. G, also listen to us anywhere. Download and enjoy iHeartRadio wherever you go. ADIKA Live. Find us on Google, Apple Store, anywhere. It's ADIKA Live. Just check it out. Got to be live, right, Dr. G?
You got it.
Dr. G, welcome. It is Monday. It is 7:01 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and whatever time it's your time, it's the right time. But you're with us, so grab your mugs and grab your fist and fix your wigs and get wild and crazy because it's one cup with a deacon. When this cup is empty, baby, we're out of here. So let's show you the world in 30 minutes and all that stuff. But Dr. G, a lot of stuff going on in the world like this.
Right.
Where do you stand? That's what I want to know. Where the people in the chat stand? If you guys right now put in the chat where you stand. Spotify, are you Neil Young? Are you Joe Rogan? What is going on in the world? What is Don't get the doctor crazy. He doesn't. The only news he knows is good news. What is going on, people? What is going on? I must ask you. Where do you stand? That's right. You on your iPhone. You sitting on the toilet right now, watching this face. YouTube sensation. I see you.
I started following the Joe Rogan Experience just because of all this stuff, because it's really interesting how, unfortunately our country divides into this left or right thing, and that if you're
be careful what you say.
And supposedly, I guess if you're a free thinker, you're only a free thinker if it allows certain thoughts, and which is the definition of non-free thinking. So, so the censorship of the Joe Rogans, whether you agree with them or not, or the pandemics or things, is an epidemic among supposedly a group that's freedom of speech is supposed to be one of their biggest things, and they actually prohibit freedom of speech because it doesn't fit a certain narrative.
Right? It's crazy. It's Debbie, Donnell, how you guys all doing? I mean, the world is crazy. Therese is here. Good to see everybody here this morning. It's really nice to see Tickle Pink is here. 85. Good to see you guys all here. I don't know what to say. Renee Mitchell, I hope. Oh, I saw her on the toilet. Don't worry, Renee. I won't tell nobody. AH is. Shh, we won't tell nobody. Debbie, thank you for the super chat. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And we love you back, Debbie. Thank you.
Steepling genius. I like that.
She's the best. Dr. G, this is crazy. I've been going back and forth with Ricky Rocket of the rock band Poison. I had him on Artist on Record. That's our other show. So you people subscribe. I need your support. I beg of you.
Yes.
Subscribe. But he was talking a little about, we were texting and talking about it, and he's been going a little bit texting with other celebrities, and everybody's talking about this. So for people who don't know what's going on, Joe Rogan, Neil Young, Spotify, the Saga, however you want to say it. basically Neil Young was not approving Joe Rogan.
Right.
Maybe his information is not right. Rogan's information. I don't know I don't really follow the show,
Right.
but I do know Neil Young basically said it's to Spotify. It's either him or me. And this is about maybe January 20. I don't know the dates. It's maybe before January 26. Neil Young made a post, misinformation. It's either me or Rogan about medical, situations he's talking about, that the thingy, medication to take, whatever,
Right.
And Neil Young, he is from that era, the 60s. He's an activist. That's what they do. No nukes. They always like to find something to go yell about in the streets. These people,
Exactly.
That's what they did. You accepted it. Joni Mitchell. But then after Neil Young said, pull my songs down, it was funny. I went on Spotify to check it out. And most of his stuff was removed. There's certain things that, was still there.
Right.
And the following day, Spotify just basically said, and not politically correct, they said, goodbye. They took down most of his music around the 27th. Maybe my dates are wrong. And it was pretty just like that. Goodbye. You're done.
Yeah.
It's so crazy how a man could make you start his own podcast
within
his house or wherever he's at and become bigger than Johnny Carson. I mean, Joe Rogan is big these days.
Right. They're saying it's like you have to spend $1 million to put an advertisement on his show, on his podcast, which is crazy for a podcast. So, and I've only listened to one. I'm actually about 3/4 through the interview with Robert Malone, who's one of the physicians who's also been banned from Twitter, etc. And and this is my understanding too, is Joe Rogan is just asking very intelligent questions to these doctors who about the thingy, and they're giving very intelligent kind of we should look into this and we should look further into, because this guy, for instance, is a vaccinologist who studies vaccines and says, well, we should really look at this and this and this. I'm trying to stay as vague as I can.
You're doing a great job. I'm very proud of you.
And so everything the guy said was like, yeah, this is something worth looking into. And and just like my experience when I did even the only TikTok videos that got pulled down for me is when I mentioned this medicine called ivermectin, and that's like this buzzword out there that's being.
So are we not allowed to say that word now? You just said the word on my show. What are you trying to do to me, Dr. G?
Sorry, sorry. I know I was doing well until then. So until I mentioned this certain drug, you're supposed to say horse medicine. That's the way they refer to it now, but it's not. That's the whole point. And so and this goes into the essence, people, is why are we performing so badly as a country against the thingy? Why, despite all of our resources, and now when we have a new thingy that is so much different, why are they still continuing to push a vaccine against a virus that doesn't even exist anymore? You can say virus, can't you?
No, the other word, the VAX. I don't even.
You can't say that word. Yeah, vaccines are popular.
You got an education. You're smart. You read books from the beginning to end. I just look at the pictures. Don't screw up the brand.
No, that's the word that's popular, I think. If you sound like you're promoting it, but so it is interesting. So the little clips I've seen of Joe Rogan before is he's just asking people who have controversial opinions. I saw some of the stuff with him and Jordan Peterson, and that's another controversial figure. And be clear, I actually disagree with many of the things that they say. I thought, for instance, their discussion on race was so lacking in intelligence, but that's okay, because you're putting out different ideas out there, and the ideas were supposed to come, argument means coming to a greater understanding of the truth, people, and we're supposed to talk to people of different ideas. We're supposed to get out there with them. The only way we can heal the divide in our country is not just migrating all to one group of people who think the same way, because then you don't even challenge your brain anymore. And the whole purpose, I think, of his show is listen, he's very popular and he's trying to challenge the brain of people. Now, some people are taking what is said on that show as being gospel, and it's not gospel. It's just, we should look at this idea and see what's in, is there a different narrative than the one that's being pushed by the CDCs and other things? And the answer is there's a much different narrative that is, that does lead to people questioning things, which again is something that the powers that be don't want you to do. And so I think it's great, actually. So I went on there and just started to follow his podcast, because it's not, the most of the speakers there are not people I'm that interested in, because they have very strong leanings towards things that are not of my viewpoint, which
Dr.
means I
G,
should probably listen.
Dr. G, did you see Rogan actually addressed? He put out a video about about him, about a show. Now, whether you agree with Rogan on and I'm very much, I can handle a situation whether you're that side or this side.
Right.
I'm cool, as long as you're not hurting others or hurting kids, and just being kind. But I could take if somebody voted for this one, that one. And nowadays we're so sensitive, and we're this world. I mean, I love shows that were able to speak and be outrageous and like, oh my God, they just like old school Howard Stern. And it's funny, Joe Rogan pretty much knocked the Howard Stern, and he is the new Stern. But he went, let me pull this up really quick, and really quick, you guys, check this out. If I could pull this up, let's see right here. Hold on. How do I do this? Technical Thank you, Mitch Weissman, for that. That's very nice.
Hello, friends. I wanted to make a video to address some of the controversy that's been going on over the past few days. And first of all, to say thank you to everyone that sent love and support. I truly, truly appreciate it. And it's been very nice to hear from you. I wanted to make this video, first of all, because I think there's a lot of people that have a distorted perception of what I do, maybe based on sound bites or based on headlines of articles that are disparaging. The podcast has been accused of spreading dangerous misinformation, specifically about 2 episodes, a little bit about some other ones, but specifically about 2. One with Dr. Peter McCullough and one with Dr. Robert Malone. Dr. Peter McCullough is a cardiologist, and he is the most published physician in his field in history. Dr. Robert Malone owns 9 patents on the creation of mRNA vaccine.
See, I don't even know if I'm supposed to say this. I could probably get you, but I got to play it. So, what am I going to do? I'm shadow banned. You know what the funny thing is, Dr. G? This channel is shadow banned already. We were starting with 100 subscribers weekly. And then for some reason, we talk medical, which I want to talk about things that is going to help people. And I'm not trying to spread misinformation. If I went on this show and talked about things that I barely know, and I don't have time to study it, but I'm learning in real time with the audience. So when I bring somebody like you on, I'm understanding better, and I admit it. So what he's saying here, Joe Rogan, I totally was watching it, and I'm like, yeah, I think just like that. Or sometimes you do the show by the fly of your seat. But let's see what we could show over here to everybody. I'm sorry, people.
Technology, and is at least partially responsible for the creation of the technology that led to mRNA vaccines. Both these people are very highly credentialed, very intelligent, very accomplished people, and they have an opinion that's different from the mainstream narrative. I wanted to hear what their opinion is. I had them on, and because of that, those episodes in particular, those episodes were labeled as being dangerous. They had dangerous misinformation in them. The problem I have with the term misinformation, especially today, is that many of the things that we thought of as misinformation just a short while ago are now accepted as fact. Like, for instance, 8 months ago, if you said, if you get vaccinated, you can still catch COVID.
He said the word. Now I'm going to get canceled over here. You see, I can't really go deep into this. Yeah. It's a drag 'cause I'm trying to get the message out to everybody. But what he's talking about,
is exactly what we're talking about. Is there is
I think you're cooking with the kid, and you can see what he said too.
Malone points out that the people who own the publications and Reuters are the same board, sit on the same board as Pfizer. So the people who are fact checking, who are saying what the truth is, are the people with the greatest financial interest to make sure you don't hear the truth about anything that might have to do with any complication to do with the current jab. Okay, So what Joe brings up is that there are very well qualified doctors that were saying, listen, we got to look into this a little bit more. And especially when we start doing third and fourth jabs, what's going to happen? Because there are so many potential negatives because we're also jabbing against a virus that doesn't exist anymore. A thingy that doesn't exist anymore. And it's almost crazy because when you look at the current advice and how obsessive people are about vaccinating against something that doesn't exist anymore, you can come up with many, many ways that it could actually make the disease worse and or lead to more complications in autoimmunity. So it's the recommendations are nearly crazed in favor of lack of looking into what could go wrong, because theoretically the sales pitch to make sure everybody gets jabbed is nothing can go wrong, and that's the narrative they want you to tell you, and we all know things can go wrong. So therefore because that's the funny thing that I thought of too. What is this misinformation they're talking about? They never actually say what is the misinformation. They just get to say misinformation, and it actually just means not the same narrative that that is being given to everybody in the mainstream media, which is a damn important thing, everybody.
It's a damn important. I agree. Thank you, Steve. It's Monday. Thank you for the super chat. I agree with you. There's more. Joe Rogan admits in this video that he's not always right. He admits he's wrong, and you know what? What do you do I agree with everything the guy says? No, but he's entertaining and he gets a lot of views, so he's doing something right. The numbers are on his side. It's funny. Even Howard Stern backpedaled because he doesn't agree with Rogan, but then he didn't disagree with him, and he had Neil Young on his show. But here's the bottom line: Rogan is king now in media. Remember, it used to be Howard Stern, the king of media. He is the king. You can't mess with Rogan. I mean, he's self-made. It's a beautiful thing, and I
agree.
A lot of stuff he says, I'm like, oh, that's
he says some crazy shit. I've heard of clips, but that's a problem. We're hearing clips.
That's the good thing about a show. You could be yourself. Right. It's like, but now we're so even a show like this. Right. It's. I think we're the best damn show on YouTube, but yet it's hard to get YouTube now to push us out because of things maybe we said in the past. I mean, hey, I might have had a bunch of characters on the phone on the show before, and maybe they might have done crazy stuff or pulled their things out. They pulled their thingy out to some of our patrons, but you know what? You got to feel bad for these people. The people, people do those things.
Yeah, I know, and it's just. But that's the thing is if
I want to go crazy, Doctor. He's steepled.
I know. It is because. As he's pointing out, he's bringing up like world-class authorities who have a different opinion. We should actually be listening to them because that's the idea of, and because it's so tough to say. I had a patient just the other day, and she was surprised that I recommended ivermectin. It's like, well, if you read any of the things I've put out, I'm sorry, I missed certain horse medicine. Sorry about that. But the reason this is important is because she thought that she wanted me to be an anti-vaxxer, and I said, well, that means I'm gone brain dead, because if I'm a pro-vaxxer, brain dead, anti-vaxxer, brain dead, because neither side, if you take from those position, you have actually presupposed your conclusion to any new any new vaccination, which means a degree of brain death. And so, no, there's one thing I'm not, is brain dead. And so we have to evaluate each and every one of these jabs and medicines on their own, look at case risk to benefit ratios, and make different recommendations for different groups across the world. It's the only way science works. Okay, so if you have somebody eliminating a narrative, banning these people, you're eliminating science essentially, because we're bringing up ideas that have to be brought up in the public conversation. So,
Dr. G, I have one of our, he wrote a whole big thing. This guy is scared of his own shadow, but he's big on his social media. You remember Corey Leventon? He wrote a whole big thing for me to write there, buddy. The man is afraid of anything, Right. He's on the show, and he's not on the show. He gets a job for working at McDonald's. He's nuts. Yeah. He took the time to write this nonsense, and I don't want to go, get my show killed. But Corey Leventon is calling Joe Rogan a menace to the public, who should be yanked the hell off of Spotify and placed in a mental institution. This is Corey Leventon talking, where he can only broadcast to his fellow mental patients. Now you see Corey Leventon.
Right.
He's so driven by madness, Corey. He talks about the First Amendment. This is not the government censoring a podcast.
Right.
He's just this is Neil Young and Joni Mitchell laying down the gauntlet, demanding that a private company stop basically spreading disinformation.
Right. Which is the exact opposite of what they're doing. The narrative that they're spreading disinformation is the disinformation.
Now,
so
Corey Levitin,
so,
you see how he misses the picture? This guy,
he lives in fear. Okay,
moron.
and so
the guy's
and
a complete moron, Dr.
it's
G.
what happens when you live in fear. You go to one thing and you're afraid of everything, and he lives in fear of everything in terms of these. That's why he's so pro the jab. And it's okay. It doesn't make him wrong or bad. It just makes him a fearful guy. And so
You know what? I hope he's watching us on the toilet. Corey, you're an idiot. Come on the show, defend yourself. You're an idiot. You know. But
he's fearful, okay, and fearful creates a way of thinking that can look like idiocy, okay, and so that's the way I would put it, because
this is his sex life with his wife. He's such an idiot.
Well, I wish Corey the best. It's just that his message of fear is part of the problem. The Neil Young's going out there and trying to censorship. I mean, it was funny because Neil Young, Leonard Skinner wrote a protest song about him, right? In terms of Southern Man don't need him around anyhow, and so the rest of us don't need him around anyhow. Okay, so there's, I'm a Southern man as in terms of upbringing. So, but Neil Young can have his opinions. Why he wants to censor someone else's is really the issue. Okay,
you're cooking with the kid over here. Look,
I like it, and so that's the whole point, is that we're refusing to look at other viewpoints, people, and that's a dangerous thing. When you see the current job being recommended for something that doesn't exist anymore, and promoted with a virulence, with a degree of force against something that doesn't exist anymore, you have to think. It makes me question everything I've ever thought about the first two things, and so yeah, I agree. The '60s anti-establishment become the establishment is very, very true, and that's the whole idea. We have to kind of keep challenging ourselves, people. It's what keeps our brains young. It keeps us young. It's healthy.
It keeps us young, Dr. G. Dr. G. God, we're 22 minutes into the show. I want to stay longer. I love this. I love this show, and I love our Mondays together. This is what it's about.
Right.
We're expressing our feelings. We're not hurting nobody. Then you got Corey Levitin, him getting beat up by kids in the street.
He said he would take people and tie them down and jab them. He thinks that we should do, and that forcing. Not only are they're going to keep you from learning about the potential negatives of the jab, I'm going to force them on you, which is what the mandates are about, right? And that's why we keep talking about anybody who starts mandating things or prohibiting things is forcing something on you. So, but the same group who's saying that I don't want Joe Rogan censored are now, there's similar groups who are trying to ban books in Texas, okay?
And so his own group there. He's Dr. G. He goes, I'm going to wait a couple of weeks. If Dax doesn't do the right thing, I'm going to and I encourage all of Stefan's fans to join me and delete Spotify. Or join Corey. Join. He's out of his mind, this little troll. He's a crazy guy.
But he's out of his mind because he's so afraid. Okay, and the media has made him so afraid, which of course is why everybody's getting third and fourth and whatever shots, because they think, well, what could go wrong? Lots can actually go wrong when you don't. When you do jabs against something that doesn't exist anymore. It almost can't work. And so one of the things that was controversial they bring up is there is a condition known, I'm trying to put this in normal terms, where if you get too high of level antibodies against something that doesn't exist, you could actually make the current disease worse. Okay, you actually have a chance of making the current situation worse than the world thingy, as well as causing autoimmune disease, which, but they look at that as being their choice because this is what my religion says to do. And by the way, the Jehovah's Witnesses have a right to refuse blood transfusions if they want to. It's part of their system, right? But we do have to accept that are there consequences to those decisions. Yes, there are. There's consequences. There's consequences to all of our decisions.
Dr. G, we're gonna take a break right here really quick, because everybody, I have a friend of mine, he got his appendix removed. He was doing shows. Our friend Rachel Bolin, give him love and support out there. Tell him on his Instagram that ADIKA send him some love on his Instagram. And also, you know, he was doing a show. He had to pull out of it. And our buddy Robbie Crane played with Rattle. He filled in for him, did a wonderful job. But go Dirty Rocker Soap, CO.com. Buy some soap. Tell Rachel Bowen, feel better. Help him out over there. Help the guy out. I told Rachel he's actually feeling better. I texted him. He can't lift anything over 25 pounds, but he had to remove his appendix. He said it's very painful, Dr. G. But you know what? If I ask you any medical questions, it is that time, Dr. G.
All right.
You know what time it is, Dr. G?
I think I know.
Ask the doctor what you should do. Ask the doctor a question or two. It's all right here on Coffee Talk. It's all pain-free without the shot.
All advice is free. Please call 911 if you need assistance.
You know, I will say I'm ahead of the game. That disclaimer we have, Spotify supposedly is going to start making on their platforms to put a disclaimer in there for what's going on.
Right.
See, so everybody, as usual, ADIKA is ahead of the game. If you have any medical questions, put it in now because we're out of here in 5 minutes. So put in your questions really quick. It's funny. We had Ricky Rockin, and he's talking about it on Instagram. Even people, celebrities are fighting. You know, he had a little thing here with Sebastian Bach, the former singer of Skid Row. Sebastian Bach goes, imagine calling yourself a rocker yet siding with some dude who has a podcast over at Neil Young. You can stick to listening to your podcast, and I will stick to listening to Neil Young. And Ricky replies, Joe is a very intelligent man. But he is wrong on this one. Got to side with the artist. We don't get what we deserve from Spotify anyway. Because Spotify, Ricky is pro the artist, you know, and he loves Joe Rogan. He thinks, you know, but as a musician that you're making your living, Spotify, they made this thing with they're not supporting the artist. So people who make this great music you love, they're not getting it. So buy vinyl. And you know what, everybody?
Exactly.
Buy vinyl.
Buy more vinyl. That's what this is all about.
Show on Saturday night and win vinyl from me because I'm buying it and I'm giving it away all for free. Our prices can't be beat. They're insane. So Dr. G, we're going to go some medical. Anybody got any questions for Dr. G here? Dr. G will be on Instagram, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time today. What is your subject today, Dr. G?
Omega-3s, D3, and autoimmunity. So the British Medical Journal just published this a very good study looking at some of the things we've been talking about on our show about how the use of D3 as an immunomodulator, meaning balancing your immune system, omega-3s, balancing inflammation, and many other things can be used to prevent autoimmune disease, which is again very, very, very relevant in this world of coronavirus, thingies which cause the disease. So so it's great because we have a prospective trial now showing that what I would consider low doses of D and omega-3s have huge benefit in terms of the prevention of certain diseases, which again, it's very rare. So this is a breakthrough, everybody. Finally, a major medical journal is actually publishing this, because I want you guys to hear this. This kind of knowledge is usually suppressed. It's usually put to a journal that nobody will ever read, but the British Medical Journal actually picked up a study which shows you can prevent disease, which, as everybody knows, we don't have a healthcare system, we have a disease care system. So there's a huge push in our society to promote diseases, and then what drugs do we take for them? And so this is breakthrough, everybody, showing some of the things we've been talking about actually do work, and that's something I'm very excited about.
No, that's great news. And over here, you know what, Dr. G, what is good? What is good to make you feel like? I see the questions in here, and Chantel is actually this is a funny one. Dr. G, do you think 9-to-5 jobs causing mental illness?
I think the idea that we should work 9 to 5 is a mental illness. Okay, so it's another thing we have bought into as a society, that's what we're supposed to do, and that is the right way to come about jobs. So the breakthrough paradigm is really going to be, how do we find ways to promote our abilities, do the things that a Joe Rogan does, that a Stefan does. Not that you aren't going to work, even maybe more hours, but they're on your term. They're not in some cubicle and say, I work for 50 years in a cubicle and get a frickin' watch at the end or something. That's insanity. And so now, do some of us have to do some of those things? Yes. I understand that for all of you out there that have a 9-to-5 job, we're not bagging on you, but the system that created that really is part of a form of a way of being that we have to challenge. Okay, that's what I would tell you. And so, yes, do I think working 9 to 5, like the 40-hour work week, is actively causing disease? Yes, I do.
I agree with you. You know what the thing about this platform that we're doing here? I love seeing when people in the chat getting along, having a good, making each other feel better. The community, like Xandra over here saying good morning, Xandra, to Laura, Reverend Jenny, and then you got Penny over here saying hi to Xandra. It's such a beautiful thing. And look, Maui Swift, brilliant Dr. G. This is the stuff making people feel good. We're our world. Whether we're right or wrong, it's all about the community getting along together. And you know what? God bless everybody here. And Dr. G, God bless you for the good stuff you do, man. And that's the truth over here. And Debbie, look, Debbie over here. Thank you, Debbie. I put tons of hours sitting here. That's right.
You do, but you don't. You're doing it on your own terms for the most part, and you can do it at a different time. You can take care of your kids at a certain time. You can do, and that's the kind of thing. When we work from home, we have more options that way. So it really is important to understand that with the way we have been grown up to think that I'm going to work at go to the school and get this education and sit in a cubicle or whatever form of office, or that your idea of health is to get the corner office with a view. That's not health. It isn't, or happiness.
That's right. Everybody hit the button, the like button. I appreciate it. It helps this channel out. Everybody out there.
Yes.
And you want some more medical advice? Any questions? Dr. G, 9 a.m. IG. He'll be on there every Monday.
Right.
We'll see Dr. G back here next Monday. And if he gets a day off, maybe we'll slip in on a Wednesday. But right now we're twice a week, Monday and Wednesday, 7 a.m. ADIKA Live in the morning. The cup is empty. It's so good to see everybody here. Debbie, Maui Swift, Donnell, all you guys, Shantina, Laura G, all you guys, good Reverend Jenny. Good to see everybody. Xandra, Kenny B, good to see you guys here. Mitch Weissman, of course, and the kid. Everybody's over here. Dr. G, I guess on this note, what other breaking news that I want to bring in here before we get out of here? Ooh, you know what's crazy? I don't know if this is fake news, but Bridget Fonda. I don't even know if this is real on the news. Yeah, you know who Bridget Fonda is, the actress?
Yes.
She's in Godfather 3. There's a picture of her now, and I don't even know if this is fake news or real news. Right here, is that Bridget Fonda? I want to know. You know what, everybody? I don't know if that's her or not. I don't know if it's fake, but put your comments down below and keep the chat going. If you guys know how Bridget Fonda's doing, tell her we want her on the show. I don't know if that's her. But let's keep the live chat going. When this show ends, in the comments down below. What did you like about the show? What you didn't like about the show? We love it. And for you people not feeling so good in the morning, we hope we made you feel better. Dr. G, we love you, and get some dirty rocker soap. Clean those dirty rockers off. And also, where do you stand? Keep it going. Where do you stand? Are you Rogan? Are you Spotify? Are you Young? That's right, everybody. The Joe Rogan, Neil Young, and Spotify drama still lives on. Lives on.
Exactly. And the fact is you can listen to some Neil Young songs, you can listen to some Joe Rogan. You don't have to agree with either one of them. The whole idea is we can love everybody without agreeing with them, because we're going to have different thoughts. It's what gives us, it's again part of being human. It's so much fun to not agree.
It is fun. And
it is.
As much as Corey's an idiot, I do love the guy. I love that he's an idiot. If he was normal, I couldn't stand him. I love I love him, and I can't stand him. So Corey, I love you, and I hope you're doing good. You're still an idiot, but I love you. I know you forever, and you'll always be my dear friend. And everybody, this week I'm interviewing in Patreon. I'm coming this week in Patreon, everybody. Kenny, Kenny B, thank you so much, my friend. God bless you. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you very much. In Patreon, everybody, which is, I believe, tomorrow, I got Missing Persons, Dale Bozio coming on. And then also we got coming this week, George Chakiris from West Side Story.
Excellent.
I'm excited about talking to him. This is going to be a fun one. And also I recorded in Patreon, but then I'm going to edit it and put on YouTube. The wonderful Joey D has a book out, Peppermint Twist. This is basically The Sopranos meets American Bandstand. It's Jimi Hendrix was in his band, Joey D. If you know the Peppermint Twist, Joe Pesci from Goodfellas was his guitar player. This is about the FBI, the mob, the whole story, the Four Seasons, the Jersey Boys. He grew up with those guys.
Awesome.
Well, when I did the interview, Andrew Dice Clay calls me up. So on this interview, Dice is on the phone. Joey D. It ended up going into a whole show. And if everybody in Patreon seen it, but if you didn't see it, wait till you see. This is going to be a great episode with Dice, Joey
Awesome.
D. This is old school. This is one of my favorite interviews. So check out this book. I'll put the links in Amazon. It's on Amazon. You can get it. And Georgia Cares. There's a lot of good stuff coming onto the show, but
Right.
we're going to get out of here. I thank you, Kenny B. I thank you, Cooking the Kid, Debbie Mola. Mwah. I love you guys. Mitch Weissman, thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the thumbs up. Everybody, you guys are awesome. Laura G. And everybody here, I thank you for all your love and support. Debbie goes, that was hilarious. Oh, you got to see the Dice and Joey D. It was pretty funny. But anyway, everybody, we love you. We're going to get out of here. Please, please, please. 9 a.m. Dr. G, middlepathmedicine.com. If you need any herbs and spices, check his website out, his newsletters. You love when I say that, Dr. G. And also, please check us out. Listen to us, ADIKA Live, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast. Just look up ADIKA Live. Wherever you listen to us, take us in the bathroom, take us in bed. Just take us somewhere. Until then, everybody, we are out of here, children. I hate to say goodbye. Bye.
It's coffee talk with ADIKA. Nothing rhymes with that but chicken tikka. We name drop here. With Stefan and all his friends.
What a great community. I really love you guys. You know what? We love you guys. And make sure for something special, click on that box. It'll be popping up right there. Make sure you do that. Until then, everybody, we love you. Mwah. Be safe and healthy out there. Thank you all for your love and support. Bye.